Hey guys, so today we're going to teach you how to make some leather gun holsters for your cosplays. So for this how-to, we're going to teach you how to make these leather gun holsters. Not this one exactly, this one is my Dr. Aphra one, and I made it the night before Comic-Con, so I didn't really have time to shoot some behind the scenes. But I do have a lot of footage of the Tomb Raider one I was working on. Basically, when you're making any leather gun holster, it's the same process, so you could use this for any gun you need for your cosplay and attach it to whatever belt you need. So we'll run through that and also on how to make leg straps. So let's get to it, and I'll show you all the equipment and supplies you may need to make this project. You got all your supplies and equipment? Let's jump right into this project and I'll show you how to make one.
So the first thing you need is a large piece of art paper, which you can find at any art store, and it has to be big enough so that the gun can fit on both sides lengthwise. After you get the piece of paper, find the middle of it and draw a center reference line. Lay the gun on that center reference line and trace it out. This will help us find the width of the fold and make it easier when we have to draw out both sides of the gun. So roll the gun on one side and then the other and trace out both sides. For our Lara Croft Tomb Raider gun, there's a cylinder, so we have to compensate for that width a bit. And for that, I moved over just a bit for both sides. And there's a way of checking to make sure that you get the right width. For that, you gotta take measuring tape, wrap it around the gun, see what the width is. We got 12 inches. And then we measured on our pattern that it's also 12 inches, so we know we're going in the right direction. Keep in mind that with the center reference line, that's where we're gonna fold over the pattern, and where in general the holster is gonna fold over. Now it comes to making the seam lines. So for the front side of the holster, trace out that outline, and then we're gonna do the seam outline, and the seam outline is about maybe a half an inch, a little bit less from that outline. So you're gonna go up on that line and measure about half an inch out, and now you got your seam outline. At the center reference line, we're gonna have to do the same thing and extend out that same measurement for the back side. So draw that second reference line. For the top of the holster, draw a line across, and then we'll have to draw another extended line on top of that one, because the back side of the holster is taller than obviously the front. So the top of the front side of the holster exposes the gun a little bit. For that, I free drew a curve up to the first top reference line. Now we got the front side pattern done. What we gotta do is cut out that outline from the seam line and then fold it over and create that outline for the back side. After tracing out the back side outline, we're gonna have to do the top. And like I said before, the top is taller than the front, so we're gonna have to extend it out to the second top reference line, and then connect it to the front side's top reference line. After you're done, what you're gonna do is cut out the pattern. With the cutout paper pattern, we could test it with the gun and see a rough draft of this holster. With the holster's pattern done, now we can make it out of leather. Take the pattern and put it over the leather and trace it out on the leather. After it's traced out, take an X-Acto knife and cut it out. For Lara Croft and Tomb Raider, there's a thigh part, and for that, what I did was draw out the pattern on my friend's thigh and made the pattern from that. Then I put it on the leather, made an outline, and I cut out two pieces for that, the back side of it and the front side having top straps to it. So if you're doing Lara Croft and Tomb Raider, for that thigh piece you're gonna have to cut slits, and for that you just gotta measure out a good width and height so that the gun holster you made will slip right through. And for that specific cosplay, on that thigh piece there's a leg leather strap, and for that I just used an extra leather belt strap that I had and made a belt out of that. And if you need help with figuring out how to make belts, I do have a belt tutorial, so check back on that one. Since we had these two thigh pieces, we put the leg strap in between that and glued them together. We gotta make sure though is that the slits don't get glued down too, which I almost had a heart attack that it did. So now you got the gun holster out of leather, wrap it around the gun and see if it fits. Hopefully it does. And after you're done testing that and it's all good to go, we're going to attach those two ends together. For that, if you're savvy with sewing, go ahead and sew that seam line. I'm not really much of a sewer, so I took the leather hole puncher, punched a bunch of holes on the outside edge, and then just threaded a string that I had and tied a knot on both ends. Just like with the gun holster with making that seam line, for the thigh piece you could do the same thing. If you're great at sewing, sew a seam line. If you're not, you're gonna have to punch a whole lot of holes and thread a long string through it and knot it on both ends. And that was probably the longest part of this whole process. Now with both pieces done, you could just slip the gun holster into the thigh piece, see if it fits, and we're on to the next step. On the top of that front thigh piece, we had those extended parts for straps. On those two ends, you're gonna put belt buckles, then take excess pieces from the leather belt straps you bought and attach them to those belt buckles, and punch a few holes in them and attach them to the belt buckles. This will be where the snaps go in and attach to your belt, and these pieces will also help with adjusting the height of where that thigh piece will go on your leg. So to attach it to the whole belt, what we're going to use is snaps, and you put one end of the snap on that excess leather belt strap and the other on the belt. And now the holster attaches to the belt and you're ready to go. With the suede leather we got, it was just too light of a color for the Lara Croft Tomb Raider gun and for my Dr. Aphra one. So what I had to do was dye that leather. And to find the dye, I went to a local shoe repair shop and they had these awesome spray dyes in different browns. So I bought a few of those and sprayed on coats. Remember when you're painting or dyeing anything to wear a gas mask and plastic gloves, because you don't want that to get all over you and you don't want to inhale any of those toxic fumes. Now, if you don't have enough money to buy suede leather or any kind of leather, you could also make holsters out of EVA foam. With this method, you still have to go through the whole process of making your pattern, then cut it out on the EVA foam. For a simple holster out of EVA foam, for that back side of the holster, you could just put an extending strap going up, and that strap will wrap around your belt. Make sure you measure that out so that it's at the height that you need. Then put 2 snaps on that strap and 2 snaps at that back side of the holster. And now you could easily take it off and on the belt with the snaps. Remember though, when you're painting EVA foam, to plasti dip first and then apply your spray paint or acrylic paint. That's because you want to harden the foam before you put anything on it. Now if you have cheap leather, you could glue the leather on top of the EVA foam, and that's what I actually did for the Wynonna Earp gun.
So your leather gun holster's done, or maybe you're just starting out. I don't know what step you're up to, but hopefully this tutorial helped in making your own for whatever Comic-Con, or whatever the hell you're gonna go to. And stay tuned for our other cosplay tutorials and how-tos and whatever else how-tos we're making, because we like making stuff and we like helping you out at the same time. So tune in for our next how-to.